is Nerd News Cafe. Stir it up with Matt, Landon, and Justin.
Get ready to stir it up. It is round 35, guys. It's Thursday. It's bright. It's sunny. You know what I like about where we're at? The months keep changing, but the temperature stays the same. This is Matt.
This is Justin.
And I'm the king of nonsense, Landon Doan.
He's back to being nonsense, guys. We didn't die.
Yep. Though, unfortunately, I now have to come up with clever nicknames again. So
yeah.
maybe the world should have ended.
Yeah, now there's work, and I don't know why we're being punished for not dying. So here we are.
We all should kind of get like a vacation week to kind of enjoy the fact that the apocalypse didn't happen.
That breath of air is like, oh, we didn't explode.
Yeah.
Though this news cycle, I don't know if we're ever going to get to that point where we can just exhale and be like, we didn't explode.
Oh, that's true. It could happen at any time.
Any day.
Landon, what was the tweet that you liked? The guy who had predicted that the 23rd was going to be the apocalypse, he changed his mind.
Yeah, he changed his mind. He's like, that's not going to happen. Like, it really reminded me of the scene of there was an episode of Parks and Recreations where we're introduced to an apocalypse cult in Pawnee, Indiana, and Leslie Knope makes the joke every so often. They'll find in their new prophecy that, we just uncovered some new data. The world's going to end. And the episode ends after, spoiler alert, the world doesn't end. They're back there trying to reschedule their next apocalypse. It's like, I just found and did some math. It's going to end on April the 22nd. And Leslie goes to look at the calendar. Oh, sorry. Actually, the park's booked up that day. We can't rent it out to you. Is the 23rd open? Yes, the 23rd. It's the 23rd.
Nice.
And we actually threw out a question if the world was going to end and you had time to play one more game or watch one more thing, what would it be? And we got a lot of fun interactions with our fans, both on our Facebook page, Nerd News Cafe, search it on Facebook, and on our Twitter, twitter.com/nerd_news_cafe. So go check that out. I think we hashtagged it possible apocalypse games or something.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I know Hunter was one of our interactions, and he said that he would just pick something like maybe an Arkham game, something he enjoys the whole game, like
he wanted to be a hero.
He wanted to save the world one last time.
I mean, that's a really good way to look at it. It's like, okay, I can't do anything about the actual world around me ending, but I can, for me, it'd be like I'd fire up Mass Effect 2 for the 24th time or whatever and be like, I can save this galaxy.
There you go.
I would probably play the first Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, well, of course you would. Yeah,
yeah, because, I feel like I need to adjust the world to what it's going to be and just assassinate a couple key folks.
It's time for comic book. No, it's not time for comic book corner. It's Fast and Furious moment. I don't know what.
Wow, we really need to workshop that name.
Yeah. Again, let's do it on the show. All right. So what works? So Fast and Furious, the fantastic.
Mo Fast, Mo Furious.
Mo Fast. I don't know. Anyway, I did watch Fast 5. I've actually watched it twice now, and I got to tell you, so far. And I have watched 6, but we'll get to that later. So far, Fast 5 is my favorite of the series. You all told me that this was going to be the case. You weren't wrong, because, man, do they kick it up a notch. The Rock shows up, and it is just wall-to-wall action.
Balls to balls action.
Balls to balls. That's what we say around here. That's when things really get crazy.
Yep.
Man, The Rock... Throughout that movie, I would love to know if he had someone who was on staff that was just there to mist him, or if he really sweats that much. Because he was profusely pouring sweat throughout that whole movie. Well, every time he was on screen.
I have heard he is the most electrifying man.
I guess.
In sports
and
entertainment.
maybe he's just
I would imagine
generating a lot of heat.
I'd imagine it transfers.
And he is the people's champion, too.
Yeah,
So,
that's a lot of pressure.
It really is a lot of pressure.
But good grief. This movie was, I don't even have a lot bad to say about it, to be honest. They get the team back together, and it's all the favorites. I love that Gal Gadot, she doesn't have like a huge part, but they definitely make her like independent, and she gets to do like her thing. She's like a key part of the team.
Now remind me in 5, this is where we go to Rio?
Yeah, this is Rio.
Rio, okay.
Yeah. This is Rio.
Because I always get that one in the underground drug cartel tunnel one mixed together.
That was Fast and Furious. That
Right,
was,
it's
yeah.
4 more or
Yeah.
less. Yeah.
Yeah, that's where they kind
Okay.
of hit the
It-
reset button.
Yeah, this is where we've got the bank vault as a ball and chain on the back of a vehicle.
Exactly.
Yeah.
On the back of the Dodge Chargers.
Yeah.
Are you
Okay,
kidding
it's
me?
that one.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's the one. That's all you need to know.
That
Does it make me a bad fan of this franchise that like I cannot tell any of them apart?
No,
like
I think that's just how it
I
is.
only know it by the villains.
okay, good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know the movies based on who the bad guy is and who makes their debut.
Like I know, like 6 has got the Shaw, or Shaw is the villain, but the only reason I know who Shaw is because he was in. I think he's in Pirates of the Caribbean.
I can't remember.
I don't know.
I know who you're
he's one of
talking
those
about.
guys that's in everything, but he's definitely the only reason I know he's in there. And then
Yeah.
and then the next one is only because
The bad guy in this movie, I kept thinking it's almost like Phil Hartman doing a really weird character. Like
It's funny you mentioned Phil Hartman. Today would have been his 69th birthday the day we're recording this. Happy birthday, Phil Hartman.
yeah, R.I.P. Phil Hartman. That's a sad note.
we're really missing.
But back to my silly fun times. It was like Phil Hartman doing a weird character in like orange spray tan.
Oh yeah.
That's what he reminded
I
me
felt like he was like a discount version of what we got in Fast and Furious 2.
of. Yeah, it is.
It was like, oh, that guy doesn't want to come back, so
Yeah.
we got this guy.
Yeah, I would agree with that. He did remind me of that dude. But excuse me. So okay, let's start out the train scene
Yeah.
where Dom gets to show up at that point
Right.
and get involved. And Dom always knows what's going on. I'm telling you, it builds on the whole he must be a psychic thing.
I'm telling you,
Because-
they're all superheroes.
Because he steps on the train and he already knows that something is up with these guys that they're working with.
yeah.
So he tells Mia, he's
Yeah.
like, plans changed, and whatever he says to her.
Something family.
Yeah,
Oh my God, it's like having freaking Pitbull. It's like, yeah, we just do this family. Instead of Dolly.
yeah.
Dude, if he threw in a Mr. Worldwide, I don't think
He
we would be
can't-
able to tell them apart.
He can't be Mr. Worldwide. It has to be something else. Mr. Mechanic or something.
Mr. Mechanic.
Mr. Mechanic family. That's my impression now. That's forever. You keep going. That's what I'm going to start saying.
Okay.
Mr. Mechanic family.
So
Hashtag.
So the train scene is insane. I thought it was fun, but then of course when things start going wrong, the solution for
Is to ram a car into it.
yeah, of course they ram a car.
Well, it
into
is Fast and the Furious, so of course.
But yeah, so them jumping that car off of the ledge like into the canyon,
Yeah.
and then they all they have to do is jump out of the car and to land in the water, and they're totally fine.
Yeah.
That's one of those perfect example moments that you have of they're superheroes. They
They're
can do
superheroes.
things that people can't do because you would be dead or severely injured.
Every bone in your body would be broken.
Yeah. But of course they get busted there. But then one of my favorite things about this movie is The Rock. Every single one of his lines is like it's almost like it's supposed to be a one-liner.
Yeah.
Every one of them.
Yeah.
He can't talk normal. He can't have a normal conversation. He shows up and he's like, I kick ass and chew bubble gum and I'm all out of bubble gum. Like, and somebody's like, I just asked you if you needed us to move these cars over here.
Yeah.
Like,
And just want to remind you that's a line from Roddy Piper. And they live. So good job.
but
Yeah, he's really playing towards the wrestling audience, and I loved it when he broke out the rock bottom and then cracked a folding chair over Paul Walker's
He
back.
does do rock bottoms in,
Oh, I know
in
he
a lot
does.
of I think in every one of these movies.
They do work it into for him to drop or lay the smackdown on a Rudy Poo candy ass.
Is this the one where him and Dom get in a
they
fight?
get in a brutal fist
This
fight.
is the one where the
that,
contract-
quote unquote, no one wins.
Right.
Yeah.
This is where the contract was presented as I cannot lose from both sides, and so this was their solution.
Yeah. But honestly, if you really watch it, and I've watched it twice now, if you
course
watch
you
that
have.
fight, Dom really kind of wins that fight. He comes out on top. Now, The Rock is fine because they're both fine.
Yeah.
But
There's no blood.
But he comes out with the advantage. And Mia's like, no! She's,
Yeah.
I don't know why she doesn't want him to kill. There's nothing good that can happen in that situation. They're surrounded by federal agents.
Yeah.
Even if Vin Diesel wins that fight, they're all going to jail.
They're going to jail, and he's going to die.
It would have made it worse, I guess.
Have you ever noticed in these movies, like when they get in fights like that, there's no blood, but like if they're like in some kind of interrogation or something, and they slap them, there's like blood on their lips. I'm like,
yeah.
you just took a crowbar to the face and nothing happened, but the backhand of a guy that is at least half your size bloodies your mouth.
Absolutely. Of course, because that only makes sense.
Of course.
Well, I don't know. So in this movie, of course, we find out that Mia's pregnant.
Of course,
You know,
that's what happens.
and
Keeping your
Making
pants,
babies.
Brian.
and that Brian O'Connor, he's a virile kind of dude. But you know,
from east to west.
you know the whole angle of when they go and steal the police cars, which was that was a fun moment.
Sure.
But of course, all you have to do is hop a fence and then you drive away in a police car. There were no consequences to anything in this movie.
No.
Oh, wait, I got to jump back to something that I missed. So
He has notes, by the way.
they
Landon.
make a point.
Jesus. Do you really have notes? Like,
He's got his
like,
phone in front of him. He's reading it, and I don't think he's looking up scores.
I really cannot wait until you're finished and you can start it on your dissertation breaking down the entire Fast and the Furious franchise.
Well, we're
It's
going
going to be your magnum opus.
It will be.
It'll
I'm
never
going to write a
happen
book.
because it's never going to stop.
But they make a point in this movie. At one point, The Rock is talking to his crew, and they make a point like, we know the kind of car, basically, they know the kind of car Dom drives.
Yeah.
If it's seen anywhere, you let me know. They drive everywhere, and it never triggers the, oh, they're out there, we got to go get them, until Vin Diesel wants it to happen, and they go meet
Until-
up with all the other racers.
Until he wants it to happen.
Yeah, they did it on purpose to draw him out, and then they have that showdown. The Rock pouring sweat as always, and that's when Dom gets to go, "This is Brazil," and they all pull out their guns, and so the FBI agents have to leave.
Yeah.
But it was like 30 minutes before that The Rock said, anytime that car hits the road, I want to know about it. We're gonna go get. They drive everywhere.
This is the one where they do the rooftop jumping for like
Oh yeah,
uncomfortably
There
30 minutes.
It was a nice like almost like a Prince of Persia kind of an
and
action
he was,
scene.
Yeah,
or
and he was
something.
laid up with the blonde Brazilian.
Yeah.
And she was like some kind of federal agent cop person.
Elena.
Yeah.
No, she's not a federal agent. She's just a Brazilian police officer.
yeah.
And apparently she was new, right? And that's why The Rock wanted someone who was new to be his liaison because he knew she wasn't dirty.
Right.
I don't know how he knew that. But he just said she's new, so there hadn't been time for her basically
to
be
get
corrupted.
Yeah.
So that was.
I want you to keep that woman in mind as you go forward.
Okay, well, I mean, I saw her in 6, but I love
Keep
the
her in
fact
mind.
that, she and Dom, of course, Dom already knows everything about her because he's psychic, but they connect over the fact that they.
He just touched her car too. He didn't touch her. He touched her car.
Right, and they know everything. Well, he knows,
He knows
that
all the
she,
ketchup stains. He knows exactly like where she stuffs that nasty, bag of trash she never tells anybody about when she has to clean the car up. She knows how many dead bodies she's had in a trunk. I mean,
Right.
everything.
But he knows that she's lost someone, and that's her motivation.
I'll touch your car. I know that you lost someone.
How? There's no way he could know as much as what he assumes to know.
How he knows is he knows that there is a butt impression in the seat, and his butt doesn't match it, and hers doesn't either. So it had to be somebody that she knows that's not there anymore. And they had been together long enough to leave an impression in her car. That's how he figured it out.
Yeah.
I
Sherlock
just thought he
Holmes.
like mind melded with her.
No, the car, never with the person.
Oh, okay.
He's like Transformer psychic.
Well,
So he's a mechanic?
Yeah, mechanic family.
exactly.
Full
Well,
circle.
Of course, we get Han.
Yep.
Han spends the whole movie napping,
Yep.
as usual.
I
no,
like it.
no
At least he
emotion.
didn't shoot first in
He
this one.
gives
Come on.
you are exactly right. Your assumption of him giving not one crap about movies and being in them.
He naps through the whole thing, and when he's not napping, he's eating. He
know.
eats through this entire movie.
I love that character.
He's
I love him.
Always got snacks in his hand, and I assume they give him food to keep him awake.
And the thing is that was
What, his blood sugar's low or something?
No, I think he's just tired.
hypoglycemic. That's why if he doesn't eat, he passes out.
Yeah. They're like, put something in his hands, give him something to do. Otherwise, he's gonna like be narcoleptic on set. He's just like in the middle of a scene, he's just gonna face plant.
The whole eating thing was supposed to be Tyrese's thing, which they kind of try to do, but it doesn't work as well.
Yeah. Yeah, Tyrese does eat, but not nearly as much as Han. And then later they explain that, like, Gal
They're running a
Gadot.
frat.
By the way, Gal Gadot is also an incredible detective. Detective.
Detective.
Yeah, because she realizes.
That's not a word.
I know. She realizes because he eats so much, he must have been a smoker.
Oh, okay.
Huh?
That's how they tie that in.
Yeah, I know.
But really, that's just a
Oh.
very loose explanation for him
So-
trying to stay awake.
But do you see my theory of how she's probably Wonder Woman in this world?
Oh yeah, for
Because
sure.
she knows so much.
Yep. I think I believe it. I believe that the two are
She's lost her
overlapping.
memory.
Yeah.
She doesn't
But-
get hurt either.
No, none of them do. So of course, this one ends with the big scene pulling the safe out of the wall and dragging it down the road with Dodge
planning-
Chargers.
The planning of that whole thing was just null and void. I don't even understand why we had to watch 45 minutes of them trying to plan
Right.
this heist.
When they
for
were
them
just gonna
yank-
smash
Yeah,
in
for
there.
them to smash it and yank it around on the roads.
A smash and grab.
And you talk about no consequences,
consequences.
anything.
They
that
caused
safe
so
killed-
much destruction
Oh, it killed
in
so
that
many
city.
people.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that place was a war zone. They destroyed Rio,
Yes.
and they get to just leave.
Yep.
Are you kidding me? And then, of course,
Brian.
spoiler alert, they switched the safes.
Oh, yeah.
So they did have the money. And when The Rock opens the safe, he just kind of giggles to himself. Really? Is it funny? Is this a funny situation?
Is this a
an-
joke to you?
To anybody?
You've killed. Who knows what the death toll is?
Yeah.
Destruction in Rio. They can't afford it. I promise you. They're using. This is Venezuela that was using somebody else's coin system as their own currency. But
But Rio has no money.
Yeah, they're living
we
off
found that out
Bitcoin.
through the Olympics.
yeah, exactly.
Oh.
So
Maybe it was because they'd put all of their funding
this-
into rebuilding the city after
Exactly,
after they
that's all they
destroyed.
You might be
had.
onto something.
this works out great. This is a good theory.
Yeah.
I mean, for all intents and purposes, they were dragging a wrecking ball.
Yeah.
That entire
Absolutely.
city.
2 wrecking balls because evidently they had another safe somewhere else.
Yep.
Ugh.
They had the dummy safe.
And
But they're the good guys, remember?
How much do you love Dwayne Johnson's cars?
Oh yeah.
He always has these animals. They're not real vehicles. I think they're transformers that are like the dinosaur ones, and this is what they transform into instead of dinosaurs. They're like the Ford Raptor M1 Abram edition with the tank turret. What are we driving? Where do you find this?
Yeah.
He's the Rock. He can pull off stuff like that.
And I love the magic of the vehicles too. It's like, yeah, we need a Ferrari engine in this Winnebago, and we're gonna need a steel cage in it. Oh, totally do that in 2 minutes. Come back and go to the McDonald's and come back. I'll have it done.
Yeah, for anybody else, that would be like a
That's months.
a months long thing. For the Rock, it's like, yeah, I'm just gonna go down to the Ford dealership
to
down
give you
the street.
to give you a perspective in these kind of movies, and I kind of hijacked your little scene here, but we were talking. Me and a buddy were talking about John Wick 2, and I don't know if you've seen John Wick 2.
I haven't seen it.
Opening scene, he gets his car back, and getting his car back as a whole is not big for him. He just wanted the car back. This car is destroyed. A mechanic comes to him, and I can't remember who plays the mechanic. I want to say it's John Leguizamo, but I might be wrong. He comes to him. He goes, "Yeah, when do you think I can have it back?" He goes, "I don't know, 2025 Christmas. All right, Christmas then." And I mean, that was a realistic number because this car is trashed. Fast and Furious world. When can I have this? When can I have this car ready? I don't know. Do you go to use the bathroom? Because when you come back, it'll be done.
Fast and the Furious uses the same logic as Grand Theft Auto.
Yes.
If you're being chased by the police, just pull into
Pull in
a
the
car
garage.
wash. You are good. Everything is fixed, and the cops have forgotten about
That's
it.
what happened. That's what happened. Maybe you said they let him go at the end of it. They just changed cars because in Grand Theft Auto, if you're being chased in this one car, you just get out and get in the next one, and they forget
Exactly.
about you.
Yeah.
Be like, well, he does match the
Man.
description of the people we're looking at, and so do all of his friends, and they're exactly the same number of the people we're looking at. But they aren't in the same cars, so clearly we have to let them go.
No. Coming soon, my theory of how Grand Theft Auto and Fast and Furious is the same world.
You know, I would get behind.
You wanna
the
get in
Fast
that?
and Furious Grand Theft Auto tie-in. I think that'd be fun.
I
Yeah.
Just let Rockstar do their thing.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
cool with that.
Yeah, let it be a little DLC magic.
And then Trevor from Grand Theft Auto 5 shows up and like kills Han or something.
He's the bad guy.
No, Trevor's never the bad guy. Trevor's the best
Well,
character.
but here's
he's
the
like
thing.
Rick from Rick and Morty.
And Justin will see this in his evolution of filming here. No one's the bad guy because the minute they are on your team, all is forgiven. It doesn't matter who you've killed.
They're family.
It doesn't matter who
Like
you've
I
killed.
said, something family.
Because you're aware that The Rock is on the team going forward from this movie,
Basically.
And I mean, they just literally mass killed many people.
Yeah.
And he just those rascals.
Yeah, pretty much.
And he's on their team.
Yeah. Tousle their hair and
Yeah.
give them a pat on the bottom.
Rub the little bald spot, that Dom's hiding.
Yeah.
Is it in the next movie where Dom kills a helicopter with a car? Is it in 6 that happens?
I'm not talking about 6 yet.
Yeah,
We're
he's
not there
on
yet.
6, yeah. I don't
I'm
think
just
so.
asking because
I
that
think it is.
that scene leads to one of my favorite Rock scenes where it's like just classic baby face, like coming to make the save, gets up out of his hospital bed and rips off a
haven't
Gatling
seen-
gun from a helicopter.
You haven't
That's
seen-
awesome.
Have you seen the one where they're in Dubai?
Yes.
The
Oh,
cars
yeah.
between the towers is the most insane, stupid thing
Just
I've
nuts.
ever seen. It's so stupid. You
haven't
are
seen
in
that
for a
yet.
treat, my friend.
Yeah,
Let me
you
tell
are.
I'm
you.
not
like-
there yet.
Oh, grins
Okay.
from end to end.
You know this scene is coming. I want you to watch Paul Walker's face during this scene because he is like, "What the hell?" It's like, at what point did you think this is a good idea, Dom?
Yeah.
And then he goes through 2 more buildings.
Yeah, 2 more. Sideways at some points. He's like a freaking. They decided to turn their car into a frisbee that gets caught by 2 freaking towers that are astoundingly tall.
Looking forward to it.
Oh, you should.
You guys were talking about his classic line. They're all family. There is a moment in 5 where they're all gathering. It's their
Family.
their night before pregame toast, and
Pre-game toast.
yeah, they're all
Friday
Oh.
night wheels.
because. So this movie has all the tropes we love, right? Endless shifting because
Oh, yeah.
because you can never run out of gears.
We're always grabbing
Nope.
a gear. We're
All-
always like, oh, I'm not fast enough. Let me downshift. That's not going to make you
down-
faster.
I know this whole race I've been running behind you, but I've got this extra gear I can go in, and now I can pass you. Oh, but you've got one too. Why weren't you using it the whole time, you idiot?
I got 18 speed
Yeah.
transmission.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they can
I'm going
keep
to
doing that.
downshift into the 30-second gear.
Then they have the PG-13 Girls Gone Wild scene
Oh,
with
yeah,
the racers of Rio. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
this has Mr. Worldwide in it. I think this is the Pitbull stuff.
Oh, maybe so.
Dolly.
I block out anything.
I think Pitbull's
Pitbull,
in
so
this.
He might
We're
be.
bringing up Pitbull a lot in this episode.
I love
think we
Pitbull.
have to
He's-
start from the top.
He is my favorite person who makes so much money doing nothing. Like I know he probably tried really hard the first part of his music career, but now he's to a point where he's just like, he says 3 words, he puts a beat on it that you've heard on a million other songs, and it's the greatest song you've ever
He
heard. in
makes
your
all
life.
his money from Miami subs now. He doesn't have to produce any
Oh my
content.
gosh! I wish I made all my money from Miami subs.
That terrible restaurant.
Not as bad as Wallaburger.
No, but anyway, he
Did you
gathers
just
up
say Wallaburger?
Not Wallaburger, but
Whataburger?
Yeah, Whataburger. sorry.
Whataburger.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. So he gathers all his people up. They're toasting, and he goes, "The only thing that matters is the people in this room right now."
Absolutely.
And I was thinking, you realize that Letty, your lifelong love, is not in this room. She dead.
Well, no, that's because he's laid up with that blonde hair Brazilian.
Not yet.
He's laid up with her.
Well, off the books maybe, but
There's
not
no
yet.
spoilers here.
Off the books.
It doesn't count if it's not in the car.
You know, that is the best way to call somebody a side piece. It's off the books.
It's off the books. That's nice.
Sounds very
They
professional.
haven't. They officially haven't started that.
Off
That
the
starts.
books.
That starts at the very end of the movie. They're together.
I like
So
your
does that
accountant
mean like
talk for
corporate synergy is
relationships.
slang for sex?
What was that, Landon? I missed it.
Does that mean that corporate synergy is like slang for sex?
Yeah, basically.
I thought
Okay.
synergy is when everybody's on board, so wouldn't that be like an orgy?
Yeah, that's probably true.
Yeah, that is true. I guess it would be integration would be slang for sex.
Integration.
Yeah. But
This
Again.
is my favorite movie.
again, this is the best one so far.
Oh,
Yeah, so far.
you are in for a treat. It only gets better from here.
Yeah.
It only gets better.
It's just
Yeah, at this point, they just lean into
Yeah,
the crazy spectacles, and it's like we realize what we are. Let's just own it,
it's
and,
fun
and,
because
and they're fun.
It's fun because the team is together now. We don't have to do the putting the team
family.
together. Yeah, the
Yeah.
family. The family's together now,
mechanic.
and they know their lane. which is
Yeah.
an appropriate metaphor for this movie. It knows its lane.
Yeah,
And it stays
Landon
in
is
it.
correct. This is exactly the moment where they're like, "This is who we are."
Yeah.
Lean, lean, lean. They're so lean, they're almost horizontal.
Yeah.
And it's like you do have to give the filmmakers credit because this is before stuff like this was cool. Like
Oh, yeah.
just these over the top spectacles, and you got to give them credit for realizing it's like this is what we do, and we kind of do it well.
I think the only thing you could attribute this to that any person or franchise has leaned into this kind of campy action. I guess is campy action a good term for this?
I guess so.
I don't want people to feel when I say campy action, I'm talking like goofy. I mean, they really believe that these stunts are like believable to do. Probably Brockheimer is the one who's gotten closest with this kind of craziness, with like The Rock and all the Bad Boy movies, and I'm trying to think everything else he's done, but he always did those over the top crazy.
What about somebody like Michael Bay? I mean,
Michael Bay, yeah, he was my next pick. Those two guys right there definitely understood that you could do insanity and it was okay.
Yeah. It
To
is
say
fun
it was
to watch.
reality anyway.
It's fun to watch.
So that's
They are.
It is fun.
And it does make me, like, out loud, like, talk to the movie screen watching these
what
movies.
What are you doing?
I can't help it. Like, I'm not typically somebody who's going to be pretty vocal and be like, "Oh no!" or "What's going on?" or "I can't believe." But
should do it in that
Don't
lady's
go in
voice.
there.
You should do it in that lady's voice from it. From here on out.
Oh God!
There we
no,
go.
no.
What are you doing?
What are you doing?
Do we need a car?
So that's my review of Fast Five.
Can I make a request before you get to the latest Fast and the Furious movie that comes out, the one with the submarine?
Yes.
Oh my god.
I have not seen this. I have not seen that Fast and the Furious movie.
So
Fate.
good.
I want to be able to somehow coordinate it. I want to watch this with you so we
Okay.
can both experience.
Let's do it.
It's
we
so
should.
good. It's so
Okay,
good.
cool.
Yeah,
We'll
do
make it.
We'll make sure because. So I've already watched 6. I just have 7 to watch, and then next time you're in town, we'll knock out Fate.
Cool. Is that the name of the submarine Fast and the
Yeah,
Furious movie?
Fate of the Furious. Yeah.
The villain, I'm telling you, it is so good. There is so much psychic ability and so much superhero-ness going on, and the plot makes it even funnier.
Yep. I think of all of them, the one that was the funniest to me was Fast and the Furious, the fourth one.
The
Fast
fourth
and
one,
Furious, yeah.
Two made me laugh the most.
2 was funny, but
Two was supposed to be funny.
but yeah, that was because of
Yeah.
comedy that they were building into
Yeah.
the film. Fast and Furious
You're
was
talking about-
funny because it was ridiculous. It was just like
What was
that's the one.
four?
That's the tunnel one.
See, I lose
Mexican
track.
tunnel
Well,
one.
And 5's the one five is the
Yeah.
one in Rio. Okay. So yeah, Magic Tunnel Time.
Yeah.
That's insane to me.
That whole film was just the
'Cause
whole
the
time. I'm like,
tunnels-
what is going
The
on?
tunnels in the freaking mountain are massive. I'm talking like NORAD bunker style tunnels in there, and they're like, oh, can't figure out how they're smuggling stuff in. Are you freaking kidding me?
Yeah.
It sounds like a goddamn to make those tunnels must have sounded like they were moving the continent.
Oh, I like how the entrance to those tunnels is like the Batcave in the
Oh,
original
yeah!
the original Michael Keaton movie
Yes.
where you can't see it and it's just like a wall of a mountain just opens up.
Oh yeah, they've got the whole Star Trek door thing going on there.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would have been great. I would have loved the nod if they had passed the Batmobile in those caves at some point. And I was like, was that the Batmobile?
That'd be funny.
ride.
Can anyone do a Brian impression? Can anyone do a? Is that bad taste to try even try? it?
No, I don't think it's bad taste. He's been gone a while. We can bring it back. We've let him lie long enough.
Oh,
I can't. I'm
Now
not a
I'm
voice.
starting to feel like it's edging towards in bad taste.
I'm not a voice guy.
I don't. I'd have to hear him again. To me, he always sounds like
He's a surfer dude.
Yeah, he's like, hey, Don, we gotta go get in there and get those
It's almost like Keanu Reeves, but almost a little more Zach
faster,
Morris.
Faster. You gotta do it faster.
little more
I think
Zach
you're on the
Morris.
track. Yeah, I think you're on the right. You just gotta do. All right, Dom, Mia's in trouble. It's like breathy, and he's always like
does have those,
He's
yeah.
always like he's ran a marathon before he got to wherever he's going.
Yeah, see, I know I can't do one, so I'm just going to stay out of it.
Can you do any of them? Can you do any Fast and the Furious impressions? Any of them?
Something, something, family, something, something.
You got it.
I am Vin Diesel, ladies and
I am
gentlemen.
Vin Diesel.
All right.
He is
I've taken
great.
up too much
Wait,
time
too
with
much?
Fast
Wasn't
and
Ja
Furious
Rule in
moment,
it?
so-
Baby girl.
Oh yeah, remember Monica? I wish that was their whole holler every time something happened that was wrong. Like when they went off that cliff you were talking about, Monica, and they jump out the car.
I'd be okay with that.
Yeah, that'd work.
Just remember that when something's about to go down, scream Monica.
And you
He
ain't
had
gonna
1,000 gears in that car too.
Yeah, he did. All right, Landon. It's hot and streamy time.
Let's get it.
All right, my Peter Frampton talk box voice effect, hot and streamy.
Pastrami?
Yes, hot and pastrami. I'm actually hungry, so if somebody does want to bring me a sandwich, that'd be great. This week, I am talking about, by the time you are listening to this, if you are listening to it, on the day it drops, Thursday, September the 28th, tomorrow, the Super Nintendo Classic will be released into the wild if you are one of the fortunate ones who was able to pre-order it when it went live at like 3 a.m. on some random Tuesday night, because that's the way Nintendo is doing these things. I will say, if you were not one of the fortunate ones to get a pre-order, there are reports online that every Target across America will get at least 20 Super NES Classics the day it comes out. So if you have not gotten a pre-order and you still want to try and get an SNES Classic, I hope you have Friday off so you can go stand in line at a Target before they open, and hopefully you can be one of the lucky 20. But at the same time, if you do not get one on launch day, Nintendo America's CEO Reggie Fils-Aimé has said, do not pay over the suggested retailer price because we will take care of you. And I really hope that this is the case, because it does seem like Nintendo, at least they're saying they've learned from the mistakes of the NES Classic, and I hope that they're going to produce enough SNES Classics to meet demand, because with the SNES Classic, we get 21 classic Super Nintendo games, and of the 21, there's maybe one bad game on this thing. And some of the games they have on here are all-time great. So, guys, I'm going to go down the list of 21 games. I have some notes on them, but as I mention a game, if you want to interject your thoughts on it, maybe a memory you have from playing these, please do so, okay?
Got it.
Got it.
All right. Contra 3, The Alien Wars. A lot of Contra fans consider this one of the better Contra games, even though 4 is debatably the quote-unquote best Contra game. Those people will even say Contra 4 is just taking what Contra 3 did and turning it to 11. So Contra 3, The Alien War. Donkey Kong Country. Kind of surprised we only get one Donkey Kong game in the SNES Classic, but at the same time, in all honesty, all you really need is one Donkey Kong Country game, because after you've played one, they kind of all run together. Fun game.
Yeah. I
Another
like
one.
Donkey Kong Country.
Final Fantasy VI or Final Fantasy III, depending on what continent you were on
Right.
when it came out. It was 6 in Japan, 3 when it came out into the West. And a lot of people consider this a good jumping on point if you're new to the Final Fantasy franchise. And some people consider this the best one, or at least their favorite. An amazing soundtrack. Highly recommended. If you're an RPG fan, you really want to get the SNES Classic, because there are some damn good RPGs on this system. Next up, we got F-Zero.
That's one of my favorites.
Yeah, jump in here. Get in here, man.
Oh, I love F-Zero. You talk about soundtrack. There's the music in it's pretty memorable. The sounds that they had for the cars and the dynamics of how that game worked. It was fun, man.
Mm-hmm. And that was one of those games that launched with the Nintendo. It really showed what this system could do compared to like the NES and the Genesis at that time. It had that Super FX chip in it. And we'll talk about the Super FX chip again in one of the later games I'm going to talk about. But it really showed what this console can do, because at least for me, this was the first console that came out that was new when I was still like after I started paying attention to game, because it's like, okay, I got my Nintendo, but you're telling me there's a new Nintendo and it can do better stuff. And F-Zero was one of these titles. It's like that and Pilot Wing really showed what this system was capable of. And I don't know how well gameplay wise it'll still hold up, but it's like for like the F-Zero, just like you made reference to the soundtrack. It's like as soon as I fire this thing up, like the nostalgia is just gonna like go all the way through the roof. So I'm looking forward to firing that up.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yep. Mm-hmm.
like you're preparing for a mission.
Then we have Kirby Superstar. Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past.
Ooh, I like that game.
I did like the Super Nintendo Link to the Past.
I mean, what I really feel kind of redundant talking about Link to the Past, and it's like I'm going to say that a lot on some of these games that we get to later, because it's like, what can I say about A Link to the Past that hasn't already been said? It's an amazing Zelda game. And looking like now that we have the, I guess, fortunate of hindsight, we can look back. Link to the Past really set the table for the lore and the world, and heck, even the formula for Zelda games all the way through right up until Breath of the Wild. I mean, like this Link to the Past really like, okay, this is what Zelda is going to be going forward. And then we see that in Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask and then the Twilight Princess. And A Link to the Past really set the table for it, and I like it. No, by the way, once again, an amazing soundtrack. Yeah, that is another thing you're going to hear a lot of. If you're a fan of video game music, these games, 21 games, 20 of them are really good, and I'd say half of those 20 games have amazing soundtracks, some of the best soundtracks in video game music. Speaking of one of those, once again, amazing soundtrack, Mega Man X.
Oh yeah.
There were many, many, many nights that I spent in my dorm at Carson Newman playing the ROM of this Mega Man game. It introduced stuff like the wall riding and sticking abilities. It introduced the dash. I believe it introduced even the charge blast effect. Like, see, to me, this is like peak Mega Man. Like, Mega Man did not get better than Mega Man X. And again, seeing this game come out when it did, like, oh my God, my console can do this. And it, like, the videos I've seen of it, it still looks like a very visually pleasing game. I'm super excited to fire that up. Next up, we have Secret of Mana, another RPG, an action RPG in this aspect, but it's one of those, it's produced by Squaresoft, well, back when they were still Squaresoft, and it's one of those games that has kind of a cult following, and it's grown more and more and more recently. I haven't personally been able to play it, so I'm excited to get a shot at it. Again, if you're an RPG fan, there's a lot of really good stuff on here. Star Fox is up next, which, I mean, Star Fox is good, but here is the big draw for the SNES Classic, Star Fox 2.
Ooh.
This is the first time Nintendo has ever released Star Fox 2.
That's
back
awesome.
Yeah.
Is the subtitle on that still bailing out allies?
I don't know if it has a subtitle, but like the story behind Star Fox 2 is kind of amazing, because Nintendo has pretty much come out and admitted, like, yeah, this game was mastered. It was gold. Like, it was ready to go. But at the same time, when Star Fox 2 was getting ready to come out, Nintendo was kind of already moving off of the Super Nintendo and was looking towards the Nintendo 64. And a lot of the reports come out say that Nintendo shelved it because they didn't want their Super Nintendo game to be able to pull off the polygon look when that was a big selling point of the N64 and the graphics. So, like, from a gaming standpoint, this is big because this is the first time that the 100% code is going to be available. Now, I know there are some people who are probably going to get on me on Twitter or our forums, nerdnewscafe.com. Feel free to register and talk with us. That they've played a ROM of Star Fox 2. That's true, but you have never played the 100% completed, period, Star Fox 2. So this is history. I mean, it's like, this is a game 25 years in the making.
Yeah, I mean, and I would imagine there's a lot of excited people over that just for the completion factor of it, and also, you know, actually, you're in the club there if you've got, number one, the SNES Classic there and that game. So,
now I am curious to see how well it's going to translate, because it's like going back to like even the original Star Fox on the SNES. That game looks kind of janky these days.
Oh, it looks, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm curious to see how well it's going to translate, but I'm still looking very much forward to give it a shot. Super Ghouls and Ghosts is up next.
Nice.
And I think this is the better of the Ghouls and Ghosts games. But guess what? If you've played any of the Ghouls and Ghosts games, you know just how damn hard they are.
They are really hard.
No, they're super hard. I mean,
Yeah.
Super
I
hard.
probably spend the majority of the game with my character naked because I can't keep armor. I can't keep armor. So, yeah.
Though I will say, in a hard game like this, the NES Classic, or excuse me, the SNES Classic, I believe, has a rewind feature. So I
good.
think that might be very helpful in hard games like this.
Just
So,
like the Disney Afternoon collection.
Mm-hmm.
That
exactly
saved
like
my butt a bunch of times.
That's the only way I was able to beat DuckTales is with that rewind feature. Oh, by the way, completely off topic, the Disney Afternoon collection is available, at least it is by the time of this recording, $7.99 on the PlayStation Network.
Nice.
Worth every cent.
Yes, definitely.
Super Mario Kart. It was the very first Mario Kart game. It's the first
best.
time all of these Nintendo characters have been able to, play together, for the lack of a better term. Now we live in an era where there's, like 17,000 Mario Party games. We're 10 iterations into the Mario Kart game. So I will say, just based on the fact, like, we're playing the new Mario Kart games, it might feel a little slow or kind of like dumbed down. Dumbed down might be the wrong word or term to use in this case, but it's like, you have to remember, this is the very first Mario Kart game, so it's going to feel like a very stripped down version of what we're used to. So if you play it and you feel like it's, doesn't live up to your nostalgia hype, that might be why. Just because, at this point, like, Mario Kart 8 Remastered came out on the Switch, and that's an amazing game. Like, so if you're going from that back to the original, maybe temper expectations.
Good point. I still think Super Mario Kart's really fun.
Oh,
though.
it's definitely
Absolutely. I
And
mean,
it's not
me and
easy.
you, how many nights did we spend Saturday nights when our parents are hanging out doing God knows what adult things adults do? We're up in your room just playing Super Mario Kart with me, you, and Tyler switching off controllers.
Yeah, tons of fun nights doing that for sure.
We had the SNES adapter.
Okay.
Oh, so you can get some 4-player going
Heck
on.
yeah, dude! And that was a buddy of mine, Greg, had a birthday bash every year around December. We'd always stay at his house, and we'd throw that bad boy on and be battle mode for hours. And we'd all 4 players going at it. It was fun. It was that one and Royal Rumble, WWF Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
That was the best. And the rule was all the other CPU guys go out, and then we fight.
Yeah.
And I'm really glad you mentioned that multiplayer aspect, because I think at that point that was one of a handful of games that had multiplayer past just the standard 2-player. And nowadays, that comes, packed in with every multiplayer game possible.
Well, it's one of the few couch
Exactly.
players. So.
Mhm. And that's back when couch co-op was still a thing. Staying with the realm of Mario and going back to all these good RPGs, Super Mario RPG: The Legend of the Seven Stars.
That's one Mario I never played.
I didn't either.
That this is the game that really showed me. It's like, maybe these role-playing games are fun. and it's like, it was a brilliant move by Nintendo. They went and got the makers of Final Fantasy. They were still Squaresoft at this point, and they got them to make a really good RPG featuring all your favorite Nintendo characters. So, like, little Landon was drawn in by the fact, this is a Mario game. Oh, this is a different type of Mario game. I like this different type of game. So I'm really excited to go back and revisit that, see how well it holds up. Graphically, it looks kind of rough in the year 2017. It has kind of a Donkey Kong Country look to it, but I'm still looking forward to getting back into it. And this is when Squaresoft was, just crushing it.
Those were the good old days.
Oh yeah.
Mhm. And once again, staying in the realm of Mario and staying with crushing it, Super Mario World.
Yep.
Oh yeah. You can play
What
that
do I need to
100
say?
times.
You don't need to say a word. It speaks for itself.
Seriously, I will say this. Much like Super Mario World was the first game I played on my Super Nintendo when I got it back in the day, the first game I'm going to play when I fire up my Super Nintendo Classic is going to be Super Mario World.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I'm even though I've put so many hours into this game, I've played it so many times. I'm looking forward to diving back in and doing it all over again. One of the best platformers, period. Maybe the best Mario game, period.
I think I don't think you're out on too much of a limb there. I really think that it's. I mean, the Mario games kind of run. They get to the point where it's a little bit apples and oranges because they are different kinds of games. But yeah, I think from a platformer perspective, it's the best Mario platformer. I would say.
I like side scroll Mario. 3D Mario, I know is the new hip thing and has been since '64, but I don't know, man. That side scroller Mario, you can't get past it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I do like what they've done with Mario since they've introduced the 3D element first in Mario 64, and then I guess really mastered by the time Galaxy 2 comes out. We got Mario Odyssey coming out later this year, and it looks bananas, but it stays in the same formula of the 3D Mario. But it's like there's just something to me that speaks, like you said, that side-scrolling 2D platforming Mario. There's just something about it I love, and I'm looking forward to firing it up again. We have another Super Mario World, the sequel, and this is also kind of big, Yoshi's Island, because this is the first time that Nintendo is going to re-release it, and you can play it like you actually experienced it on the Super Nintendo itself, because it had that Super FX chip. I made reference to it earlier when I was talking about F-Zero. For whatever reason, they can't recreate what the Super Nintendo did in the re-releases. Like, I know Yoshi's Island got re-released on the on the Game Boy Advanced, and it's like it was an okay game, but it's like it did not look anything like it did on the Super Nintendo itself. So I'm super excited to get back into that. Just watching the videos, it's still such a colorful, a visually pleasing game. I love the look of the art style. And I'm again, I'm going to sound like a broken record on a lot of these. I'm really looking forward to diving into it. Super Metroid. This is before they went on Metroidvania, but Super Metroid is amazing.
The visuals and how creepy that game is. Like when you start getting into the bowels, it's like, I want out. There are sometimes when I was a kid, I was like, I don't know if I want to play this. It's like 10:30. There's some noises I can't identify in this game. I'm going to check out.
Well, and I'm really glad you mentioned just the creepy feel of it, because that was one of those first games where Nintendo, it really felt like the atmosphere was part of the game. Like, it made you uneasy in certain points. You talked about it's like, do I really want to go in there? Because it's like, as Samus, you are completely isolated on this ship. Everything that moves wants to kill you. So, and the atmosphere, the music, like some H.R. Geiger type feeling stuff. It's like, I love the world that it built. And I had a hard time picking what would be my favorite 2D Metroid, because like the Game Boy Advanced, like Metroid Fusion, Metroid Zero Missions, those are great games, especially since they're on the go and side scrolling and stuff like that. But you really can't go wrong playing Super Metroid. Looking forward to that. And then in the Western version of the SNES Classic, we get 5 games that the rest of the world doesn't. Earthbound, another RPG, one of those that's really kind of a cult following. Recently, it was re-released. It was recently-ish put on the Virtual Console on the Wii U, and it did very well. So that fan base for Earthbound is still out there. I did not get a chance to play it growing up, so I'm looking forward to it. Street Fighter II Turbo Fighting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which it's like, I'm kind of surprised they didn't go with the version that introduced like Cammy and DJ and those characters. But at the same time, it's like Turbo Fighting. That was the first time we as the players could play as Vega, Sagat, Balrog, and Bison.
And I think it's because Turbo was so successful in the arcade. You know, that thing you used to put your quarter in and go ahead and lose. Yeah, man, I love Turbo Edition. There was my mom would go to the Food City we have out here, and they had a big Turbo Edition. Street Fighter 2, I made sure I had at least $5 in quarters every time we went.
Yep.
That took some weeks to build up, but I was like, man, I'm gonna beat it this time. Did not beat it ever at that Food City, ever. I did get close a couple times, but yeah, that you talk about Vega. That was my dude right there, because he'd get up on that gate. And be like,
Yep.
climb, climb, climb.
Yeah, and at that point, it's like in fighting games, it's like, how the hell do I counter that?
Yeah, and there was a lot of that in that game. That's where they introduced, like, I mean, Guile had it at a little bit, but there was more of the catch 'em in the air moves that you never did see in anything else. So that was fun.
And many nights, you made reference to him earlier, my buddy Hunter, we would just stay up all night, just me, Hunter, and Tyler passing controllers back and forth in in Street Fighter 2 Turbo. And unfortunately, Hunter's really good at fighting games. So it was mostly just me and Tyler getting our ass kicked by Hunter all night. But it was still fun.
That was the only game that I could best pretty much all my friends on, because I had a friend, Jason, who was just a animal at Mortal Kombat, and I was just like, let me go in here and let you do a fatality on me, is about what that amounted to. And it's like, you want to play Street Fighter 2? Oh, you mean, do I want to lose? No, yeah. I mean, that's going to happen. And, you know, I got better and better at, like, people like Ken, and then I started getting, because, you know, the go-to was always Chun-Li. You could win the game with Chun-Li. I don't care who you are. I mean, even the worst player could beat with Chun-Li. But then I got better at, like, Zangief, and I mean, it didn't matter who I was. I was like, pick the character. I'll kill you with this person.
See, I was a Blanka main only because Blanka was a green dude who could turn his body into electricity. So I like that. That was fun.
I played a lot of Blanca.
You could beat the game with him, too.
Right.
It was pretty easy.
But looking forward to that. Also looking forward to Super Castlevania 4.
Wow.
Yeah, it took everything great from Castlevania 1, 2, and 3 and eliminated everything that was terrible out of 2 and just turns it up to 11. It's like, and it's not necessarily that Metroidvania that it seems like the 2D Castlevanias of the future would be, starting with Symphony of the Night. And I'm not bagging Symphony of the Night. Symphony of the Night is still an amazing game. I'd still probably say that is my favorite Castlevania, but I really loved Super Castlevania. You know what? I would call this my favorite non-Metroidvania Castlevania.
I'm looking really forward to playing it about 80% of the way through and then stopping.
Well, that is how you took in the Netflix series. So, you know, you have to be consistent, and I respect that. And Super Punch-Out!
Yeah.
Like, I know I'm really glad that Punch-Out came out on the Wii a few years ago, and it seemed like Nintendo was trying to revitalize it. But just for whatever reason, like, it didn't hit those same notes that Super Punch-Out did for me. It's like, for me, that is peak Punch-Out. Like, and even the home game itself, it looked like an arcade game. So those colorful sprites, the gameplay, it all drew you in, and I'm looking forward to that. So those are the 20 good games. You remember how I was talking about how there was one kind of outlier?
One ugly one. What is it?
Okay. Do you like Kirby?
Not really.
Do you like Putt-Putt? What if
Kirby
we
Golf?
put both of those things together?
Yeah, Kirby Golf.
Yep, Kirby's Dream Course is coming to the SNES Classic,
That
and
was
it's not necessarily a bad game, but it's just like, wait, really? This? Like you got 21 slots, and one of them you're giving not only to a second Kirby game, Kirby Golf.
Yeah, that is confusing.
It was a bit. Now, I remember the popularity of that game. It was a popular game. It really was. I remember going to the rental store and I think it was new release video and insert your hometown title here. One of those. But that game was never in. Never. You know, it was as popular. It never hit any beats with me, but it was as popular as Dr. Mario was, and I never really thought that one was all that great either. But I know there were people who loved that game. So
Yeah, I was going to say I dig Dr. Mario.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. You know, it hit all the right tunes for you. For me, I had Tetris.
And again, I will take Tetris over Dr. Mario. I love me some Tetris. And it's like, again, it's not necessarily that it's a bad game. It's just kind of a odd inclusion. And I get it, like heck, Golf on Nintendo was a great game. By
That
the way,
was fun.
sidebar, did y'all see the news that there is a copy of NES Golf locked on to the Switch?
I
and if
did.
Yeah, and it's an homage or an homage to the late great Iwata that passed away with Nintendo last year, because that was the rumor is he was trying to get this game published and nobody would do it or nobody would put it together, and he just said, "Oh, to hell with it, I'll do it myself." And that turned out to be an amazing game. And the rumor is it unlocks on the anniversary of his death if you do the the hand gesture motion he was known for in doing his Nintendo Direct videos. So I think that's super cool. We'll talk about that more as it gets closer and once I can actually figure out how to unlock it. But yeah, to wrap up the SNES Classic, I mean, if you can find one, $79.99 for 20 great games, and Kirby's Dream Course is a great price point. I look forward to diving into it with a majority of the games as you just heard. But I kind of have a question, and we might be able to use this as our poll or our question of the week, or no pants poll, or shirt off, shout out, or your socks singings, whatever we call it. What game would you put in place of Kirby's Dream Course? Because there are two games that come to my mind, or heck, three games that come to my mind that feel like glaring omissions.
I have a couple.
Okay.
So-
do we want to save that for later in the
Yeah,
show?
let's save
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Okay.
Give Matt some time to think about it. I had two that came to my mind right away. Actually, now I've got another one. So
Yep, got three. So I'm very curious if our three are going to be the same.
that would be really interesting. Yeah, well, let's save that. Let's let Matt do a little roast in here, and then we'll circle back to it.
Okay, and that is Landon's Peter Frampton Talkbox Hot and Streamy.
I just kind of the last little bit, not off topic, but on topic for your SNES Classic. I haven't really been interested in the Nintendo Classic or the SNES Classic. I guess because I can just get those ROMs and play them on my tablet. And granted, it's not anywhere close to the classic feel with the controllers and everything you get with these things. But I will say the caveat to that is, I would absolutely stand in line, elbow grandmas, trip up kids to get an N64 Classic if it had GoldenEye on it.
I would lay money down that that's going to happen eventually.
I was going to say.
I don't know that you'll get GoldenEye, though. That's the problem.
I can't imagine they'd leave that off. That's like everybody considers that to be one of the greatest games ever.
The greatest party game ever made. I would.
Have y'all played GoldenEye recently, or rather tried to play GoldenEye recently?
I have played GoldenEye, and I am currently working my way through a campaign of Perfect Dark. So eat me.
See, that right there, Perfect Dark. That's why we're not going to get GoldenEye.
I know.
Because Perfect Dark, really, a lot of people felt like took the GoldenEye formula and
sure it did.
perfected it.
But it's not GoldenEye. You can't be Odd Job. You can't be Ugly Bond. You can't be, you can't be all these fun characters with these fun levels. They're to tell you the popularity is still there is because people have taken it. I think currently online you can get on and you can download an HD version of all the multiplayer levels and play people online through them. Somebody has went through and redone them. Now, not to the level we've seen on some different videos and stuff like that, but it's pretty high, pretty good graphics what they've redone and refinished.
But because it has the James Bond license, I think that's what's going to keep it off of the N64 Classic. Because Perfect Dark, that's in-house with Nintendo. They don't have to go pay Paramount Pictures or whatever for the license.
Exactly,
So-
and that's what sucks. Is the only way I would lay down money and do all those bad things to people in society is if GoldenEye was on there and you could use those controllers, because those controllers. From this, I can tell you, and I will stand behind it, I love that controller. That pistol grip controller was my favorite controller out of anything I've ever played. It was my favorite out of anything.
As vast as my console gaming experience is, I have never owned an N64, and I don't think I've ever played an N64 game.
I've owned two.
Isn't that crazy?
What?
No,
I'm serious.
I can see a gap in there because PlayStation was out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's where you went.
I went to PlayStation.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
That you were either N64 or you were PlayStation. That was when you saw the divide. So
And at
You
the
had to have come over and played GoldenEye with me and Tyler.
I have never. Actually, I can tell you. As I think about it, I might have played Mario Kart 64 once.
What?
Seriously.
Mario Kart 64 was fun. I will say that was a fun one. I still like the SNES, but
Because I
64
know
is
what the controllers look like. I know what the system looks like. I have held one of those controllers maybe once.
that
yeah.
controller is as comfortable as a beer is in my hand.
I had no idea we were growing up together and you had a terrible childhood.
He had the PlayStation though.
Yeah.
Well, you can get both.
He was doing Tony Hawk tricks.
I did not have the choice to get both. I ended up just with a PlayStation. So.
Yeah, I
No,
went
back when the
64.
PlayStation came out, it was all about Crash Bandicoot and
Yeah.
Crash Team Racing.
Yep.
You wouldn't know it
Absolutely.
for all the people who play Tony Hawk every day of their lives.
Oh no! Tyler, that was the first game that Tyler like. All right, I'm saving up my money for a game. I'm like, the hell are you doing saving up a game? What game is this? Oh, Tony Hawk skating. The hell is a Tony Hawk?
Yeah, exactly.
And then I played it. I'm like, this is amazing.
It was good. I mean, Tony Hawk is forever a legendary in the gaming association.
And you know what? On top of that, apparently, all reports, super nice guy.
Oh yeah, that's what I've heard too. That's what I've heard too. He could
Good
afford,
on you, Tony Hawk.
He could afford to be. So, as I move away from my N64 classic dreams, I'm going to move into what seems to be a nightmare. I cannot tell you how much I enjoy the after show of Walking Dead. It's funny. It's good. They get guests. It's entertaining. And you can see some people fail at being a personality on TV and some people strive at it.
And then Chris Hardwick gives everybody points.
Absolutely.
Wait, no, that's a different
No,
show.
that's a different show. But that's Chris Hardwick. And he
Points.
does a good job. Here's what I don't like. We don't need a freaking show after the show, every show. I do not need it. And this is coming from what I have recently witnessed is going to happen with the new Star Trek. We're getting an after Discovery show. So Discovered Discovery is happening. I don't know who's hosting it. I don't care. You'll
Is it Chris
probably have.
Hardwick?
You know what? Good on them if they got him, but I doubt it.
I just assume at this point, if it's a like a talking blank show, there's a 75% chance Chris Hardwick is hosting.
It's probably going to be Shatner. I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do, which would just be awful probably anyway. I like Shatner, but not in that concept. There's no reason to do this. First off, you're going to have to pay for it.
I feel like you're talking somebody off a ledge right now.
Don't do
it's
this.
Not worth
don't
it.
do it because it's going to start a trend. I can see it. It's already started.
yeah, the
it's
trend has
already
begun.
pushing.
The trend's
It's
already
already
going.
pushing. And Walking Dead did that. I get it, but they did it right. They were. I don't know. They were the first, but they were definitely the people who have made it happen. There are, little shows here and there, but they were the ones that like after the show is this show within the same network and everything. Everybody else does not need to do this. I don't need a freaking Grey's Anatomy after show. I don't need.
Oh, I could see that too.
I don't need a DuckTales ducktail. I don't need. I don't need. I don't know. Insert your favorite show, and then people who you don't care about talking about it afterwards. Do you guys need an after show for Bob's Burgers?
Nope.
For them to tell you how great Bob's Burgers was and have the voices on that. No, I don't need an after show for The Simpsons. I don't need any of that crap. I don't. I have what's called it, guys. I know you're listening to us right now. There are 1,000 podcasts about whatever you like, that's your after show.
But only listen to ours.
And they're interactive.
And Game of Thrones talk, aka Got Talk.
I was going to say, if you're into Game of Thrones, perfect show. I can tell you exactly what you need to go. Got Talk. Get it.
Damn right.
And he'll
And if
interact
you're
with
into
you.
Star Wars, go listen to Matt's thing.
Nope. Watch out.
Get
That's right. It's a
okay?
Battlestar Galactica.
Battlestar Galactica. You know what? I welcome Battlestar Galactica to join the Star Trek crew.
So say we all.
We don't need this going on. I don't need more after shows. I don't need more people being on a show because they're famous and they like something. I have Twitter. I know you like it. You say you like it. You've retweeted that show. I get it. Got it. Good. You don't have to bring people on from panels and stuff like that. I don't have to have P. Stu telling me how much he enjoyed an episode of Discovery when he's lying. He doesn't watch it. I get it.
Is the after show going to be on CBS?
CBS Access.
Okay.
You're going to pay for this
Oh,
after show.
God. They're putting it behind the paywall.
They're putting a show that no one wants behind a paywall. That's like
what could
literally.
possibly go wrong?
That's like literally picking up a dog turd and putting it in a birthday present wrapping and going, "Do you want it?" No, I don't. I know
And
what's
then
in there.
asking somebody to pay you to get
I know.
it.
I will give you this present that's spoiler alert, dog turd, for $10. Nope. No, I don't
A
want
month.
A month. Let me get you. Oh, don't even get me started how they've sparsed this season out either. Side note, side brew. Let me give you a little shot of cappuccino here.
It's pronounced Cuppuccino.
Cappuccino. They are going to space this out over 5 months. So guess how much money you got to give them to watch all of this?
Oh God, seriously?
September, November, December, and then it comes back on January and February. That's 5 months of your money they got.
Wow.
Dude, just save your money for the DVDs at this point.
That's what I'm saying. It's on the low end of things. On the low end of things, it's $30. You've bought the Blu-ray. You've bought it.
Shoo.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm not telling you guys not to watch this. I'm just telling you might want to be smart about how you do it.
Right.
Or just listen to Matt's podcast and he'll tell you what happens.
Me and Thomas
he'll
will
save
tell
you money.
Yeah, me and Thomas will tell you exactly how it's going to work
For
out.
free.
On the
Or-
freeze, yep.
I'm not saying that you should go in together and maybe get an access together at the $6 limit with a couple of friends, and you all pay $1 and you're good for $6.
Could do that.
For
We're
the
not
entire-
saying that.
We're
I'm
not-
not
we would
saying
not
how much
tell
we're
you
not
I
to
would
do
not
that.
say share a code.
Absolutely don't do that where you share the code between friends and you
Yeah.
all get access to it for much cheaper. Don't do that.
Don't do that. I mean, if you were to do that with HBO Go, I mean, that's your business, but I'm saying don't do that either. It sounds marketable, and it sounds
We
like
could see the benefit.
I mean, it's
We get
accountant
it.
approved over here.
We get it. Oh, it's not approved. I just get it.
No,
The
no,
math,
he understands the
math
money's
works
cents.
out.
Yeah, the math works out.
The math works out.
It's not approved. It's not approved. Don't do it in a state that we live in because it's illegal to share a Netflix account across households. That is legislation. So there's some things in there. But let me tell you what you're not going to do. You're not going to share this access. You're not going to do that.
Okay.
And this is a not. You're not going to watch that access show. I don't give a shit who you are. You're not going to watch this after show. You're not going to stream it.
You don't think you'll take a peek?
No.
A little peek?
No. I don't care. I am the after show.
I think. Yeah.
I don't want to watch my competition. They can get bent.
Well,
It's not really in competition.
no.
I'll have all kinds of stars on.
These after shows, they make them for shows where there's like so much going on, where you really got to
They gotta
dig
break
into
it
it and
down.
kind of break it down.
If you've
pull
got
it
to break
apart.
down Star Trek for me, kill me now. I'm serious. I understand Walking Dead. It's a weird genre.
Mm-hmm.
They're putting a lot of mystery into it. They're not giving you all the pieces of the puzzle so you understand that is not what I want in Star Trek. I understand there are plots and there are arcs and stuff like that, but I don't need somebody to go, well, you know, he was wearing that watch at a special time, and that watch is like his communicator, which is his dad's communicator. I don't give a shit. I'm watching this show. Okay? I got it. I saw it. You alluded to what you were doing. I get it. We don't know who the mastermind is. We don't know the blank face in this crowd. I got it. Okay? I don't need you to tell me for another hour that I guess I'm trying to get my $6 to $10 worth out of, because I am, cheek spread for this bad boy to watch this show.
Well, maybe that's what they were thinking, though, and that they were thinking, well, we need to give people more content because they are going to be paying for this, and so their intent
This is 2 monkey bars at the same freaking playground.
Yeah, I agree, but I think that could have
There's
been
not
part of
more
the
junk.
intent.
There's not more stuff at this playground. It's literally 2 sets of monkey bars.
I get.
It's a
your
horrible
frustration.
analogy, but it's the truth. It's so ugh. It's just my problem with it is it's not so much this show. It is this show, but it's the fact that it may start something. I don't need a after the Goldbergs. Okay, I don't need what's new on New Girl. There are 1,000 podcasts out there, guys. 1,000 of them that you can reach out and listen to what they're talking about and interact with these people. You know who's going to interact on this after show with you? Squatro, Cero, Goose Egg. Nobody.
Here's your host, Matt Myra.
Who the hell is that?
That name does sound familiar.
Is it Matt Mira? Is that the BMX guy?
I doubt it's the same person.
If it tells you how much I don't care about the show, I didn't even look it up. I saw the article, disgusted, held my nose up in the air and go, pew, and moved on.
So apparently, it was originally called Talking Trek,
Of course it was.
which Wow.
God.
because CBS is full of new ideas.
Really close to your podcast.
Hey
man.
guys, don't forget to catch that new show, as I call revamping and rebooting Sheldon. Make sure you see that.
Or just don't. Send CBS a message.
Yeah, don't watch any of that crap.
But it is now titled After Trek.
After Trek.
It will
That's terrible.
It will debut at 11.
Who comes up with these names?
Following CBS Access launch of the first 2 episodes. Guests on the inaugural show include Star Trek Discovery stars Sonequa Martin Green,
Of course.
James Frayne, and series executive producer and co-showrunner Aaron
What is that?
Harbitz.
You know what sounds
Harbitz?
crazy about that? There's somebody else that runs that formula, the same type of people that they put on their app. Oh, that's right, Walking Dead.
Oh, Matt Mira is a founding member of the Nerdist team and also stars in his own show, Sidekick, with Matt Mira on Nerdist streaming platform.
So they couldn't get Chris Hardwick,
Yeah.
so they got
Yeah.
Chris
Yes.
Hardwick as acolyte.
That's
clone-
exactly
his
what it is.
clone.
But he is a writer for the Goldbergs, so you got to give him credit for that. And he's written.
right.
So
he's-
we know he's funny.
he did write for At Midnight.
He
and,
just makes poor choices in career.
and apparently he also hosted Attack of the Show.
Okay, well, I mean, it's easy to bag on him, but every one of us would give up our personal lives, what we're doing now, to go do that. So good on you, Matt Mira.
I would
Absolutely.
not give up my personal life to do that.
Oh, I would leave all you sons of in the dust.
To
I'd
talk
take
about
the
Star
money.
Trek,
I'd take the money, absolutely.
and you know
You
nothing
gotta cash
about
them
it.
checks. Hells to the yeah.
well, how do we know he knows nothing about it? He could be a Star Trek
He
guy.
could be a Star Trek fan. I
Yeah,
am
I
I am being
well-
mean to him for no reason. I will cut him some slack.
It's not his fault the
It is
show's
not
being
his fault.
created.
You're right. It's not. But it's so sad. It literally is a carbon copy of Talking Dead.
Yeah.
It's a carbon copy, even to the point of where they got the host. Can you? They're like, hey, I don't know if you can, but can you try to be Chris Hardwick? Can you try? If he's got the same freaking haircut, I'm done. I'm done with this guy.
Yeah, so now I've got a picture of Matt Mira up on the computer. He's definitely not a skater
No, he is not a BMX guy. You're right.
or a BMX guy.
Yeah, I don't remember what that guy's name is. I think his name is Matt. There's something Mira too. Dave Mira,
Dave.
which was
Yeah.
also what followed the Tony Hawk craze.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's
they had
right.
the Dave Mira BMX because all the bike guys are like, "Hey,
Give us our day in the sun. That's how
day
BMX
in the
guys talk.
sun.
We deserve our day in the sun on our bikes.
on our bikes, we're living it up." I don't know. I can't.
You can't even.
I can't even. It's disappointing. I don't understand. I mean, I understand. I just don't. No more.
All right.
No more. Slapping the Simpsons or whatever we're gonna do. I don't.
Slapping
I mean,
the
you could do. They could have come up with a better name. You know what? I'm gonna bag on this name. After Trek. Did you guys try to grab Tracking Trek and it was already grabbed? Suck it! I got you.
That's right. You got it.
That's right.
You beat him to the punch.
Got him. So yeah, I mean, there was so many other things they could have done. I don't.
You don't. All right.
So let's not influence this trend.
He don't.
If you want to see this show, if you, for whatever reason you want to watch After Trek, pirate it. I'm going to say it. Don't give money or any kind of pleasure to them that you watched it.
Just
The views expressed by Matt Weaver do not necessarily reflect those of our parent company.
Pirate it. Do it.
Just say don't pirate it. Wink. How about that?
Yeah, don't
Again, we're in
pirate
an
it.
audio format. They can't see you wink. They can't see your.
What if I do the
quotes.
ba-bing, ping, ping?
Yeah.
Don't pirate it. Bing.
Sure, we'll go with that.
Sure, that's painful in people's ears. So, yeah, guys, don't do that. So let's moving on to happier tones in our show.
All right. It's time to revisit last week's No Pants poll. We asked you to weigh in on our 3 suggestions for who could play Nightwing. We got 11 responses. 64% voted for me, Joseph Gordon-Levitt. I win something.
I get that, though. I mean, I
No,
get
no,
that.
I'm going to say I win. So
You don't get to win.
We agreed with
just
you.
to stay
so.
consistent.
Jared,
I win.
Jared Padalecki got 27%, and Jensen Ackles got 9%.
We
So-
did get some suggestions on the Facebook.
We did.
Also.
We
We
did.
got
We got some good
suggestions.
ones.
I'll bring up on Twitter. We got a suggestion for Channing Tatum. He's already being Gambit,
You.
so but that's
we-
not bad.
Sorry, you just got banned from our polls.
Oh, shut up! Leave him alone. David Krebs.
fine.
That's my
It's
boy.
fine.
Shout out to David.
It's fine.
Lee or at Turtle of Noodle suggested Finn Whitrock.
All right.
Who is that?
I actually had to look him up. I forget what show he's on, but I pulled him up on YouTube with a like somebody put together a smash cut of him, and I liked what I saw. I could definitely see him going for Nightwing. But if we're gonna give it to any Finn, why don't we give it to former NXT champion Finn Balor? That's cool. Just bring all my wrestling into everything.
I was mistaken on the Facebook.
Oh,
I think it was on Twitter.
Well, Finn
He is from Halloween Town High.
Finn Whitrock,
Yes.
Oh, he's American Horror Story.
American
Yeah,
Horror
American
Story.
yeah,
Horror
yeah,
Story,
yeah.
The Big Short, Unbroken.
Yeah, and American Horror Story. I don't like the season he was in, but he's a good character in it. It's the carnival one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thomas Walker, or your co-host
Uh-huh.
on Tracking Trek, threw out a couple. Robbie Amell or Colton Haynes. I don't know who either one of those people are.
Robbie Amell is Stephen Amell's brother, and he was
Yeah,
cast as
God, now I know who he is.
Firestorm, I believe, in Arrow and Legends of Tomorrow. The other actor I wasn't familiar with, but I could like Robbie Amell. I could see that being a good casting if you just want to keep it in the Amell family.
Yeah. Okay. So Robbie Amell, I mean, he looks the part. I think a lot of these guys we've suggested kind of look the part.
Is it male like the bald ones? There's like a bunch of them.
Maybe.
I only think there's two of them, but they're both superheroes, so they have amazing genes apparently.
Do they shop at the Gap?
I was about to say, are they Levi's?
We're both stupid.
Joke bombed both times.
And I'm going to take my mic away now. No.
All right.
No, it's like I think it's interesting. A lot of our listeners are almost recasting people who are already been cast as superheroes. It's kind of like keeping it in the hero family.
Yeah. Colton Haynes has been on Teen Wolf. He's been on American Horror Story as well.
Which
That
season
would
was
have
he
the
on?
girlfriend's vote. She loves her some Teen Wolf.
He was also on Arrow as Arsenal. And-
Oh, he's Roy Hart. Okay, all right, Roy Hart. All right, okay,
yeah.
that guy.
So again, he also kind of looks the part. We're casting dudes that have like a nice cut jaw look
Uh-huh.
with the dark hair,
Chiseled jaw.
Yeah.
Dark hair.
Yeah,
But like Jay, you threw out a suggestion that I really liked. If you wanted to go for like, and I know it's a joke that I make a dark gritty reboot, like maybe skew Nightwing a little bit older. You threw out the suggestion of Keanu Reeves, and I think that could be awesome.
I think so, and I based that on his John Wick prowess.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I
see,
was
I
gonna
don't
say,
want
just
him
look at John
to
Wick.
because I want more John Wick, and I don't want anything to interfere with that.
Yeah.
It's a possibility. Yeah, that is true.
I'm greedy, and I don't want my John Wick to end. I know it'll eventually have to. He's not superhero status, but
I don't know. John Wick does seem kind of like a
he's so good.
superhero.
He's so good. This third one, I'm super excited about.
So Eric Lehman actually threw out a suggestion before I even had a chance to put the poll out. He was impatient with me on Thursday, but his suggestion was Taron Egerton as Nightwing, the dude from Kingsman, and
That
that's
could be fun.
yeah, that's an interesting take as well.
Yeah. I think that guy's a good actor. I do.
Yeah.
Honestly, if you wanted to cast him in the Batman universe, I would put him as Damian Wayne.
Ooh, yeah.
Kind of has that like
Damian
edge
Wayne.
to him.
No,
Damian Wayans.
I'm just kidding.
Not Damon Wayans, you dumbasses.
So we're suggesting in the DC cinematic universe, they also enjoy watching Wayans brothers movies.
That thing crosses all universes, I do believe.
Yeah, The Wayans is a comedy that goes across all platforms.
Of course it is.
They're a singularity.
All right. So thanks to everybody for the suggestions. A lot of good ones, and we always appreciate the interaction.
Though apparently Supernatural is not big in our audience. That was my takeaway from this week's poll.
That's right.
I think Padalecki's too big. I really do. And I think somebody looked up Nightwing's height on Comic Vine. It's 5'10".
Okay, well, have you seen Tom Cruise movies? In every movie he stars in, his character
But
is like
that's-
at least 6'3".
but that's
That
what I'm
guy is
saying.
5'1" in real life.
But yeah, that's increasing the size. When you have to scale someone down, I don't think it works as well. You can't make them like stand in holes in every part of the scene.
Peter Jackson's able to make 9 damn movies about scaling people to make them look like they're 2 feet tall. Or in Gandalf's case, much bigger than everybody
You
else.
didn't like those movies.
I liked the original ones. They're just too damn long.
They are long. That's a fact.
So much talking. Even the trees talk in that movie.
The tree ants. Yep. I've got the extended director's edition of all 3.
So if you started watching them back to back to back, you would be done by the time the presidential election rolls around in 2020.
Pretty close. Pretty
It'd be
close.
a good way to pass the time.
Yeah, that's definitely.
Actually,
when-
that's a really good idea. Can we just get in a bunker and do that until 2020?
I mean, yeah. And then we can all vote for Dwayne Johnson.
Oh, please save us, The Rock. Well, hell, my buddy Glenn is running for mayor in Knox County. So
That's right.
So wrestling is slowly taking the world over.
Well, they understand what it means to, have drama and not be drama, and then sports entertainment is about the same arena.
They know how to work a crowd.
Yeah, they know how to
They
work
do.
a crowd. They know who the heels of life are.
And they realize sometimes you just got to be the heel.
you got to be the heel.
Sometimes you got to take the folding chair to the back. Sometimes you got to swing the folding chair.
I've always been told, I think it's very wise words I heard when I was a child, was to be the man, you've got to beat the man. Woo.
Yeah, I was going to say throw a woo in there somewhere, and you nailed it.
Yeah,
Whoever said that is a brilliant man. Almost a space mountain of a man.
Woo.
Well, guys,
Oldest ride, longest line. Woo!
while we're talking about champions, let's pick a champion of this week's poll.
Yeah, let's get it.
So I'm going to generate a random number. Matt, I need you to give me a drum roll.
Ready?
Hit it. And the winner of the e-comic is... UA!
UA!
Good job, UA. No,
I had no
it's-
idea she could read
it's
or
gonna be-
use Twitter.
She has her own tablet. We're one of those really excessive pet owners that give her electronics and
Yeah.
bullcrap. No,
She has her own Instagram account.
she does. No, the winner will be Matt Richardson at the MIDI Geek. Apparently, he loves tech stuff, family, and life in general. So
I can agree with all 3 of those things. Congratulations,
Yeah,
Matt.
I'm good with all
Not
that.
you, Matt.
Yeah.
this other Matt with one T.
Winner, Matt.
1T.
One T, Matt.
Yeah.
1T Matt.
So you will be getting this week Peter Parker, the Spectacular Spider-Man #3.
Nice.
Ooh, that's a good one.
What
So-
does he get any kind of bonuses on top of that?
I'm
Do you
sure he
know?
does, and I love that you asked me that because I was not prepared. So
You told
This
me
is
to
the part where
be
you prove
more
how good of an
interactive.
editor you are to make it sound like you knew what
Yeah.
you were talking about.
So while I look for that, is there anything interesting you have to say? Oh, let's get started and start preparing for our poll this week.
Oh yeah, yeah. So I guess we're gonna go with what game you want to interject.
Switch out that 21st.
Yeah, if you could go get that, if you could go back to the store and say, I would like to add this mod and subtract this one.
Can I please take out Kirby's Dream Course?
Kirby's Dream Course, you can have. Now give me insert your game.
Matt,
So,
do you have one off the top of your head?
I-
Because I got a couple locked and loaded.
I had a couple, and then I kind of narrowed it down, and it was based off something you said that I had forgotten I love so much, and that's Pilot Wings.
Ooh,
That's a
yes.
good call.
I love Pilot Wings. I loved
Yeah.
failing and winning.
Yeah, the skydiving was a lot of fun.
It was so good, and
So
then
fun.
the jetpack and just the craziness that you had to do, and then like almost getting it and kind of getting it. And I know you guys don't probably play a whole lot of GTA 5, but a lot of the mini games that are in that are a lot like Pilot Wings. Of like you got to parachute a Camaro onto a platform, and or you got to jump skydive through a bunch of circles or fly planes through different things. So that game has not since, I think 64 came out with one and it wasn't the same, but
Yeah.
the formula's still there in a lot of other games, I would imagine. So yeah, Pilot Wings would be the one I would put in there.
Wow.
I think that's awesome you threw that out there because,
Really
I mean,
strong.
I mentioned it when I was talking about F-Zero. That and Pilot Wing really showed what what the Super Nintendo was capable of. Because at that point, that was like mind-blowing, like game-changing, no pun intended, type of game.
The world, I mean, there wasn't much in it, but I mean, being able to what is it I'm looking for? Orientate yourself in a 3D environment on a 2D game was pretty fun.
Yeah.
So
Challenging.
That's a really good answer. Good on you, man.
All right. Well, that you really just increased the difficulty of me validating some of my choices here. So I had 3 in mind. I'm going to go with 1, but I'm going to tell you the 3. So first, I was thinking UN Squadron. I don't know if you all ever played UN Squadron. It was a really fun multiplayer, side-scrolling, like dogfighting kind of game. But it was like you were taking on other like oncoming aircraft, but also taking out stuff on the ground.
Yeah.
You could pick 3, if I remember right, 3 different planes and pilots, and then you got to upgrade your ship or your plane as you went. It was a
Wait
fun
a
game.
minute. This game is starting to sound really familiar.
Well, you probably played it. I mean, I played it at my house all the time, so I'm sure you got a crack at it. So it was a good one. So another one I really enjoyed, and this goes back to when I first got the Super Nintendo, but Final Fight was so fun.
Final Fight was fun.
How is there not a final fight on this thing?
Haggard.
Yep.
Is it
Yeah.
Haggard?
The
Hagar.
mayor.
Hagar, yeah.
Yeah. You call him Mr. Mayor, damn it.
Yeah, oh, Mr. Mayor. And then you had the girl, I can't remember her name, and then it was like Nick or something was the
Yeah.
guy with the hat. Yeah.
I thought it was like Guy. Or
Guy, or it was a quarter eater or something. I mean, I loved
yes, it was, yeah.
So Final Fight was good, and then lastly, Battletoads.
Battletoads, yeah, that was a good one.
Battletoads was a lot of fun, and I was gonna say Turtles in Time, but I really feel like
Nah,
doesn't
TNT
really-
arcade you can't beat.
yeah, the arcade version's better, and it doesn't really fit into kind of the when I think about the games Landon listed. I don't think Turtles fits into that. Actually, out of all the ones that I mentioned, I kind of feel like maybe Final Fight fits the best.
Final Fight was good.
So that's the one I'm going with. Final Fight needs to be on there.
Okay. Those are all really good choices.
Yeah, I had some honorable mentions, but like you said,
Dude, throw them
they
out.
didn't-
I want to hear your honorable mentions.
Super Double Dragon was
Oh,
probably a lot of fun because it was a lot more immersive in your moves than you could do with the other Double Dragons. It wasn't as good as 2 in my mind, but I was so religious to 2, it was stupid. I actually have it at the house right now. But and then the other one, I was trying to remember the exact name of it, and I'm still having trouble. But one of the ones that I used to play all the time was Quarterback Club.
Oh, okay.
NFL Quarterback Club had all where you could put your quarterbacks through the ringer of like all these challenges and stuff like that, and really yell at them because they're awful.
Well, I have the perfect answer to get Jay's Battletoads, or excuse me, Matt's Battletoads, or Jay's Battletoads, or Double Dragon. You guys do know that they had a game,
Yep.
Double Dragon meets Battletoads.
Yep, I remember
That's
that.
true.
Yeah.
So, boom, just throw that on there. By the way, Battletoads still one of those hard, just pull your hair out, frustrating games,
It was.
especially if you play with somebody.
Yeah, that's true. Because you could hit each other, right?
Yeah.
Yes, you could, and boy, did you hit each other. It's like, especially going down that stupid hole level
Oh,
on,
yeah, where
like,
you're
I think
kicking?
it's World
Yeah.
2.
Yeah.
God.
That was a lot of
Ugh.
fun.
Like me and Tyler would be like, all right, I got the left, Tyler, you stay
Yep.
on the right. And then Tyler would it would start blanking and he turns into the wrecking ball. and
wrecking ball.
smashes.
Yeah.
It's like, what did you I couldn't help it. The game did that.
Yeah.
And then 5 minutes later he and I would just be fist fighting over a Nintendo game.
I had one that, but I don't know that anybody really played it. But if you haven't played it and you get a chance in any form or facet to play it, it's probably one of the best like mindless racing games that they had out there. It was called Rock and Roll Racing. Me and my
Yes.
buddy Greg used to play this. We would run through this thing as quickly as we could go through it, and it had all these different cars. It had the background music was classic rock music done in like 16-bit MIDI.
I was about to say you can get some heavy metal like 8-bit conversions. It's like the Paranoid. Their version of Paranoid just sticks out in my mind.
Yeah.
Oh, so great.
Oh, crap. So I totally forgot one. Speaking of
That's-
multiplayer and
yeah.
mindless racing, So Ivan Iron Man Stewart
yes.
Super Off Road.
Yes.
Ooh,
Are
yes.
you kidding me?
The Nintendo one was great, but when they come out with the Super Nintendo and they like scrubbed the freaking graphics and made it where you could actually tell it was a truck instead
Yeah.
of a box that made squealy sounds.
I wish I still had this game.
Oh,
I would
absolutely.
play it today.
I'm with you.
Can you remember loading up on nitros and
Yep.
you would just
Well, the bad thing was the computer knew what you were doing, and as soon as you did it, they were right there with you. And it's like, can you last 99, baby? Because that's what I put all my money into.
That was a good one.
God,
All right.
Those are all really good games.
All right, Landon. It's your turn. What can you match us with?
My honorable mentions, I'm going to echo one you threw out there, Turtles in Time, but that would not be my pick because they actually did a remastered version on Xbox Live and PlayStation
Oh,
Network a few
yeah,
years
that's
ago.
right. They did re-release it. You're right.
And it was a good remake. So considering we only have the 21 slots, I'm not going to go that route. I also thought about throwing Super Tecmo Bowl out there.
Oh, yeah. Super Tecmo Bowl 3, I think, was the pinnacle. And it was so good because you could build up a team, kind of like you do in Madden now, and run them through seasons until they were just ridiculous.
Oh, absolutely. And that's part of the reason I wanted to include it is because like the gameplay to Super Tecmo Bowl was so good at the time, but at least for me, that was what really introduced me into sports games and like really like primed me for the Maddens and stuff like that.
It was so much fun. Tecmo Bowl was so much fun. My friend Jermaine, who's passed recently, but he was a monster, a absolute monster on Tecmo Bowl. We had tournaments at football camp. We had people would come over and challenge him on the street. No, I'm just kidding. No, I mean he was so good at that game, and I mean he built super teams on. Now, granted, he did it on Sega Genesis, which is the exact same system, but he was just a monster on it, and you could not best him at that game. But yeah, Super Tecmo Bowl, so good.
And with Super Tecmo Bowl, you didn't have to worry about broken Bo Jackson, who just like turned the game inside out and could go one on the entire team and whoop your ass.
I think
So fix
Super
that.
Tecmo Bowl, I think I won the Super Bowl with just about every team except for I didn't play it with the Packers because they can burn in a fiery hell. And then, no offense, Packer fans, but I don't like you. I'm trying to think. There was one more I didn't really.
The Bengals?
No, I beat it with the Bengals. God, maybe it was the Oilers. I didn't care
Yeah,
for 'em.
that game did come out when the Houston Oilers were still a thing. So, but my team was the Philadelphia Eagles because they had Eagle QB number 12, and he was as close as you could get to broken in that game.
Was it
Shout
Randall
out
Cunningham?
Yeah.
I love Randall Cunningham. Hey, you had Reggie White on that one too, didn't you? He was on the Eagles.
Yeah, Reggie was on the other side of the defense. So maybe there's a reason I was really good with the Eagles because they were broken. But my choice, and I said it a lot, there are a lot of really good RPGs in this thing. I would include Chrono Trigger.
Oh,
Chrono
okay.
Trigger, yeah.
Because Chrono Trigger still to this day is one of the best RPGs stories ever told. I played the re-release on the Game Boy DS that came out a few years ago, and it still holds up well. And if you can tell me with the SNES Classic, you can at least try to recreate that experience I had playing Chrono Trigger, that's what I would do. So Chrono Trigger would be my choice to bump out Kirby's Dream Course or whatever it's called.
Cool.
I think we did leave out one, and I'm surprised you didn't say this, Justin. One party game that I think trumps GoldenEye just a little bit harder is Bomberman.
Well,
Only if you have the adapter to throw 4 people in there to go nuts.
You're right. I mean, Bomberman's one of my favorite all-time party games, and I thought about it, but I don't know what made me leave it off the list.
Probably because you can't have. I don't know that the adapter works on it.
Yeah, that if it's best when you can play 4-player in battle
absolutely,
mode.
and really piss everybody you know off.
So.
And plus, I'm willing to bet there's been a remastered version of Bomberman or Super Bomberman that makes you feel like, oh, this is exactly what I'm looking for, especially on like your Xboxes and your PlayStations where you don't have to have the adapter to get that 4-player action going on.
I mean, I got to tell you, I've played a lot of the newer versions of Bomberman, and there hasn't been one that has totally captured the fun of the original.
I will give you that. Super Bomberman was probably peak, but again, it's like when you put it up against these games, it's like it really feels like, yes, the SNES Classic does want you to have good games, like really great games, not just good games, great games, but it also kind of feels like Nintendo is highlighting part of its history.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Like big, like notes hitting, and it's like, that's part of the reason why I guess I kind of understand Chrono Trigger isn't there, because if you're going to have to get a Square RPG from the Super Nintendo era, you're probably going to choose a Final Fantasy over Chrono Trigger, and you chose Final Fantasy 3/6, which is arguably the best one. So while I would like Chrono Trigger, I guess I understand why it was left off that list.
I never played 3. I played 2, though, and I liked 2. I thought 2 was fun. I don't, like I said, I never played 3, so I don't know the difference, but I don't know. I don't understand why 2 wasn't on there, but like you said, I guess 3 was stronger.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those where everybody points to. It's like, this is the best Final Fantasy. If you're not a fan of the Final Fantasy franchise, this is where it would be a good point to jump on. So it's like, I understand why you would choose Final Fantasy over Chrono Trigger, because Final Fantasy is still Square's, bread and butter, where Chrono Trigger, I mean, hell, the last Chrono game we got was Chrono Cross on the PlayStation 2. No, the original PlayStation, excuse me, and we haven't heard hide nor hair of Chrono anything since then. So I understand why Square would want to put the focus, and Nintendo on that matter, on Final Fantasy. But at the same time, it's like, you have all these other RPGs. Can't you just give me Chrono? Come on.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
So it sounds like we got our poll.
I think we do. I think we got a good poll. We're going to throw it out there.
Or how about this? If you don't like any of our options, give them another option if we have that.
I think that's, give us the no shirt shout out if you don't like the 3 options we presented, and we will definitely put that in the mix. So
yeah, for sure. So you can go either route. You can vote on one of the ones that we picked, or if you liked one of the honorable mention ones, you could mention that, or throw out your own. If you are a follower and you retweet and you participate, you will have a chance to win an e-comic, just like Matt Richardson did this week in winning Spectacular Spider-Man number 3. And the bonus one, by the way, he's getting is the Mighty Captain Marvel Volume 1, Alien Nation. So it's the graphic novel of the new
There you go.
Marvel. Yeah, so
that's nice.
So
that's a damn good participation trophy, if I do say so myself.
I think so. So enjoy that. Tell us how you like it. We always like getting the reviews. If you want to do that on the forum or the Facebook,
And
you can
reviews.
do that. Yeah, I know. We got a new member on the forum, and it's Andrew View. I don't know
Andrew
if you
View.
noticed. Yeah.
Nice. I saw somebody pop up. I didn't get a chance to see who it was.
Yeah,
so.
Andrew View and
I
Thomas.
just assume it was more porn bots.
All of them.
They do not get what they promise.
Yeah.
Not that I've clicked on them. No.
Not that you would know, of course not. And on a completely unrelated note,
Bless my
Matt
cash.
needs a place to sleep tonight. So
Bless my cash. No.
So, all right. So that's going to wrap it up
Too
for
busy
today.
for the
So, the poll will be out on our Twitter at nerd_news_cafe on Thursday around lunchtime. If you can't wait for me, go ahead and tweet at us just like Eric did. That's fine.
It's like I'm not waiting on you, bro.
Yeah.
Especially if you don't think you're going to feel like you're going to vote in either the 3 we've mentioned anyway. So
Right. But, Matt, why don't you tell them where else they can find us?
they can definitely, like we mentioned before, go to the forums, which are at nerdnewscafe.com. There's a big banner at the bottom that says forums. You can jump on there and grab us. If you want to hit Twitter at nerd_news cafe. You can also go to our Gmail. I can't go there, but you can send us one. nerdnewscafe@gmail.com. You can also find us on YouTube. I don't know if we've ever had any comments on there, but if you got any blockers at work and you like listening to podcasts at work, we are on YouTube, and most blockers aren't on YouTube because they use it for training materials. I think that covers... Oh, Facebook. Don't forget about Facebook, man. Guys, go on there. All you got to do is search Nerd News Cafe. You will find us. We are the only ones labeled that, so it's pretty easy.
we assume.
We assume. And when you assume, that makes you happy for ice cream. So
Exactly.
I think that is all I have got. Don't forget... we just dropped Tracking Trek podcast, episode 1 something another, because I got to put a start date on it. I'll already have the start date on it when it happens. It's our first review of the episode. Me and Thomas are watching Star Trek Discovery. You should too, and then listen to what we say about it, feel about it, think about it. don't like about it, do like about it, and compare it to other things that probably aren't relevant. And that's at Tracking Trek Podcast, or at Tracking Trek Pod if you want to hit us up on Twitter. Landon?
Twitter.com/Landoz, LANDOZ. That is where you can find the latest musings and random crap that comes out of my head. I put it on Twitter, 140 characters at a time. I also post the latest happenings at buttmunchchips.com. Buttmunchchips sit on your button munch. That's where you can exclusively find Game of Thrones talk, aka Got Talk, where myself and Hunter Reese, we break down episode by episode of Season 7's award-winning Game of Thrones on HBO. We are in a hiatus. We don't know when we're coming back because we don't know when Game of Thrones is coming back or if there's going to be a world for Game of Thrones to come back to. So in the meantime, me and Hunter are having just straight up conversations. The Butt Munch Chips Variety Pack is back. And the very first episode is Hunter and I discussing gaming, how we've gotten here, and where gaming is heading next. It's a very free-flowing conversation. So we would love for your input on anything we talk about. And who knows, we might pick up one of the points that you mention in our very next episode. We like to call that interacting with the lovely listener. So for the Super NES of this podcast, Justin Krutzinger, and the Super Sega Genesis of this podcast, Matt Weaver. My name is the Super Atari 7600 of this podcast, Landon Dunn. And we thank you for joining us on another edition of Nerd News Cafe Stir It Up. You've been great, or Nerd News, and we've been the other one. Have a good night.